Let's talk about power creep in Honkai Star Rail. I saw this chart on Reddit posted by a user in the Star Rail subreddit, and it's kind of brought to light a bunch of things I've been telling my friends for a while now. You might have heard a lot of chatter, especially between the Star Rail and Genshin Impact communities, about how Star Rail devs seem to be a bit more generous to their players. We get more free rewards, and we even got a limited 5-star in the form of Dr. Ratio. Genshin has been around for far longer than Star Rail, and they haven't even gotten a standard banner selector yet. But if you understand the differences between the games, I don't actually think Star Rail is more generous than Genshin. Just looking at this chart at a glance, you'll notice that Star Rail players have never gotten a break in the form of a filler patch or a period with no new limited characters. You'll see these flat spaces in the Genshin chart, and those represent times when only rerun banners were active. Throughout Genshin's history, we've had a number of solo rerun banners, and this allowed players who already had that character or didn't want them to save their primo gems for the next limited character release. Even though Genshin gives out fewer rewards for free-to-play players, I never once felt like I wouldn't have enough currency for the next character that I was targeting. Star Rail is almost a year old now, and we have not gotten a single filler patch. It's just straight new limited character after new limited character. And with each new character being one of the strongest in their respective roles, the power creep is really incentivizing players to keep pulling for new units. This means that our reserves are always feeling pressured, and it's honestly kinda hard to keep up, especially as a free-to-play player or a low spender. The way that Star Rail works also makes it more difficult to pull for all the characters you need. Elemental coverage is more important in Star Rail, and you need a wider roster of characters than you do in Genshin. In Genshin, you can reasonably beat the hardest content in the game every cycle with the same 8 units more or less. The free 4-stars are also very viable for this purpose even. It's a lot harder to do the same in Star Rail. In my case, I have around 16 characters built to varying degrees. Now that we have both Memory of Chaos and Pure Fiction, even someone who highly optimizes their resources will probably need at least 12 characters to have a shot at fully clearing all the current endgame content. I've been playing since day one and still feel like I need a physical DPS, a quantum DPS, a fire DPS, and probably one more sustained character to really feel comfortable in terms of having a team comp to throw at any situation. I guess people that have Silver Wolf can reduce the number of units that they need by quite a bit, but I think my point still stands. Star Rail is a more demanding game in terms of how you spend your premium currency. Sure, we get more free stuff than Genshin players, and the free Doctor ratio was a huge help to everyone's accounts, but the more generous rewards are also more necessary for players to keep up with the content. Memory of Chaos has already expanded once, so just when we thought we could coast and pull for characters we think are cool, Hoyoverse upped the curve quite a bit. Then they threw another wrench in our plans by releasing Pure Fiction, which requires slightly different strategies and possibly different characters depending on the rotation. Genshin has just had the same number of levels as Spiral Abyss since the game's release. Granted, the floors have gotten harder over time, but in my opinion the difficulty ramp is nowhere near what we've experienced in Star Rail. I'm not really trying to stir the pot here and say one dev team is better or worse than others. I'm simply trying to put out that Star Rail is not really as generous as some people make it out to be. I still think the game is great, and it's still viable to be free-to-play in this game, but honestly, I think the free-to-play experience over here is harder than it is in Genshin. That may also be because I've had absolutely disastrous luck with my pulls. I've only won 1 or 2 50-50s, and I even lost a 75-25 on the weapon banner, so other individuals who might have a bit more luck than I have had may certainly have different take. But if you've played both games, let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think Star Rail players will ever get to a point where they can just coast and pull whenever they feel like it? Do you think one game is more or less generous than the other? Or do you think Star Rail players are going to have to keep pulling for newer and newer units to replace the old depreciated ones? Again, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I'll see you in the next one.